Hello everyone and welcome to the Real Estate News from Imtilak Real Estate. The central bank's policy, which was described as strange because it reduced inflation by reducing the interest rate, achieved good success, which was manifested in results contrary to observers' expectations. As inflation began to decline significantly at the end of the last year, and it reached a record of 55.18% during last February. The Turkish Exporters Council announced that the income from Turkish exports to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was $367,363,000 during the first 2 months of 2023. And Saudi Arabia ranked 22nd in the list of the most importing countries from Turkey. The residential apartment sector sold more than 4,000 apartments to foreigners, and Antalya topped the state's best-selling to foreigners with 1,592 apartments, ahead of Istanbul, which came second with 1,380 units sold. As for the nationalities that bought the most, they were topped by the Russians, who bought 1,557 apartments, followed by the Iranians, who bought 526 apartments. Along with the completion of the construction work of the Istanbul Financial Center and its opening for service in the coming months, real estate prices and rents in the areas near the center of the Asian Istanbul are witnessing a noticeable increase, and the rate of increase at the beginning of this year has reached 174%. The prices of apartments in Turkey witnessed a significant increase at the beginning of this year, along with an increase in demand, as the annual increase rates exceeded 150% in some states and approached 200% in others, according to a report prepared by the Indexa real estate platform. The earthquake incident in southeastern Turkey increased the demand on real estate in north and west, which increased some prices and rents. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan confirmed that 98% of the buildings that collapsed during the recent earthquake that hit Turkey were buildings that were established before 1999. And that the Turkish government imposed many obligations with regard to fortifying buildings against earthquakes after the famous earthquake which Istanbul witnessed, losing thousands of lives. The seismic damage monitoring reports issued by the Ministry of Environment and Urban Planning confirmed that the buildings constructed by the General Directorate of Housing, TOKI, in the earthquake zones did not witness any damage, despite the fact that some of them are close to the seismic fault lines. The report indicated that the government's commitment to constructing these buildings in accordance with the internal regulations for earthquakes was a reason for bypassing them. Real estate demand increased for little blocks with few floors and far from the seismic fault lines. Houses with a government guarantee or supervised by government agencies received the largest share of this demand. This coincided with the government's announcement of imposing strict control over new buildings with regard to standards for fortifying the building against earthquake and the construction in the areas from the fault lines. After the earthquake disaster, governmental and private agencies in Turkey rushed to carry out donation campaigns for those affected, and the most prominent of these campaigns was Turkey is One Heart campaign, which succeeded in collecting 115 billion and 146 million Turkish liras, which is more than $6 billion. The Earthquake Insurance Corporation stated that it will give each person who lost his home an amount of 3,000 Turkish liras for each square meter. Thank you very much for watching and see you next video.